The Steam Summer Sale is going on right now, but there's not much time left. And in today's video, it's a bit of a special one. Normally when it comes to the big Steam sales, I do an overall roundup on games, and also a video specifically about RPGs, because they're my favorite. However, I have a new toy to play around with. I got a Steam Deck OLED, so today we're going to do a bit of a special episode. I'm going to give a small little roundup of games that I think, if you have similar preferences to me, you would really enjoy playing on the Steam Deck. Now, apologies in advance for the quality of the actual videos I have here. My setup is the actual definition of held together by hopes and dreams, let's call it. And while my Steam Deck arrived kind of late, I wanted to at least play a handful of these games to make sure they ran well on my machine. So let's talk about some of my favorite video games that are available at a discount right now that you can pick up for your Steam Deck. Let's talk about the game that I tested first, Halo 3, or we can kind of extend this overall to Halo the Master Chief Collection. I grew up on Halo, and I absolutely adore Halo, and being able to play it with a handheld has been an otherworldly experience, especially with that OLED screen. Yeah, I can see the 800p personally, but if you hold it far enough away from your head, the game still looks absolutely gorgeous, and also, my god, the colors just pop so much, and the lighting is perfect. Now, it did take some finagling to get the thumbsticks to work the way I like it and what I find comfortable. I had to go in not only to reduce the dead zone for the sticks on the Steam Deck itself, but I also went into the options menu of Master Chief Collection, and I was able to tone it down within there. Once I got it to a setting that I liked, I found the game very comfortable, easy to play, and just enjoyable. It's a really good feeling to be able to play one of my favorite games throughout most of my life in a way that looks beautiful, that is also portable. I don't really play multiplayer anymore, I'm just playing single player. And I know Master Chief Collection uses easy anti-cheat, and I've heard that has some issues when it comes to stuff like SteamOS because it runs on Linux. So if you're here for a multiplayer experience, I can't really help you there. But if you're here for just the single player campaigns because you grew up on them and you want to play them, whether that be for the 100th time or the first time ever, at least for Halo 3, I really enjoyed it. There's a community plugin called ProtonDB where the community is able to actually rank Steam games based on how well they perform on the Steam Deck. Halo the Master Chief Collection has a gold rank. Halo the Master Chief Collection is also 75% off for $9.99. Next up on the list, we have Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. If you have ever played Persona, well, Persona was originally a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei. And maybe you grew up on games like Pokemon, and maybe Pokemon doesn't scratch that itch as it once did for you anymore, but you still want a game in that style. Well, Shin Megami Tensei 5, while it can be a difficult game, is a game that has largely scratched that itch for me. It's a monster collectathon, where you're collecting monsters called demons in this game. You have an overall story that's rather interesting to follow, and the game looks absolutely gorgeous. The press turn system, which is the core of the combat system in Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is a party-based, turn-based RPG, for me allows Shin Megami Tensei to really stand out, and despite being super frustrating at times, I always found myself coming back to the game, and I will find myself coming back to it down the line because there's two main routes to play. Creation and Vengeance. I've done Creation, I still have to do Vengeance, which I hear is even better than the playthrough that I did. There's a bunch of different demons to collect with colorful personalities and unique skills and abilities to add to your repertoire, all the while you're customizing the Nahobino, your player character, to fit your own playstyle. The game is super fun and interesting. Shin Megami Tensei utilizes color saturation and contrast to brilliant degrees. And it's games like Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance that I think look the best on a screen like the Steam Deck OLED at least, where it allows the colors and the lighting to really pop and to stand out. Sporting a platinum rating with ProtonDB, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is 50% off for $29.99. I've said it before and I'll say it again, Nier Automata is my favorite game of all time, and funnily enough, despite that, of all the games on this list, it's also the game I had the most issues with actually setting up on my Steam Deck. But I did get it to work. I had this weird bug on initial load up, because it carried my saves over from my desktop version, right? Where the game was super pixelated to the point I couldn't really read the menus. But I was able to successfully navigate to the resolution setting, and just simply changing the resolution options to anything made the game legible. and I was able to play and customize it from there. But the game had also defaulted to a lot of the graphics options I had from playing on my PC. So the game's graphics were fully maxed out, and I was getting frame rates during actual playtime in the mid-20s, which is not preferable, to say the very least. But after knocking the graphics options down to the medium preset, well, the game ran like a dream for me. And I'm sure that if I tinkered with it even a little bit more, I could probably squeak some more performance out of it. But I think it goes to show that, yeah, even though you have to tinker with it a little bit, depending upon the settings you have when you boot the game up for the first time, it's relatively easy to get really playable frame rates out of this thing. During combat, I dipped to the 50s in FPS, but outside of combat, I was having around 60. And again, that was just on the medium preset for everything. The Steam Deck also has a nifty little feature to it that, depending upon the controllers you actually use for regular playtime, you may be accustomed to or not. The back pedals. See, there's 4 additional buttons on the Steam Deck on the back where your fingertips are resting. You can program those buttons to be any input you want. And one of the most notorious elements to Nier Automata's gameplay is the pod firing, because you can have that stream of bullets come out all the time, including during regular combat. A lot of people have to adopt a claw-like grip on their controller in order to simultaneously hit the right bumper for the pod fire, while also hitting your other buttons and dodging. However, with the Steam Deck, you can program the back buttons to whatever you want them to be. So I made one of the back buttons the pod fire button. And it took a little bit to get used to, and I'm still not entirely used to it yet, but my god, it's nice to have that functionality be available to me. It's one of the things I've really grown to appreciate with my albeit limited time with the Steam Deck so far, is just how customizable this thing really is. So not only did this game run well for me after I did a little bit of finagling, not only does this game look absolutely gorgeous, I mean, oh my god, it's Nier Automata, right? But I was able to control the game arguably better than ever before, because my regular controllers don't have those back pedals, so this was a new experience for me. And you know what? I quite enjoyed it. Nier Automata has a Platinum Proton DB rating, and is also 60% off for $15.99. Look, Baldur's Gate 3 is a big game, both in terms of the amount of people that actually play the game, but also in terms of the content within. It's also one of my favorite games ever made, and a game that I still play to this day, even if I don't cover it all the time on this channel. And I was a little bit skeptical about how it could actually perform on something like the Steam Deck, but honestly, it runs rather well. It's a rather intensive game, I can definitely feel it, like, drain my battery, but I love this game so much, and it's so cool to just be able to play this game whenever and wherever I want to. And to know that the game still looks pretty, still runs pretty well. I might not get insane frame rates on this thing, but it's a D&D turn-based game. I typically get frame rates north of 30, and I cap it at 45, which, you know, for a game like this is more than enough, especially being able to play it portably. And the game still looks absolutely gorgeous as well. I was also a bit skeptical, because I generally play Baldur's Gate 3 with mouse and keyboard, how a control scheme like a controller would actually work with it. And you know what? Yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once I got used to it, feels pretty good to play it. This also goes back to one of the things I appreciate the most out of the Steam Deck. It uses your Steam account, so saves carry over. If I want to continue a playthrough that I was doing on my PC, and I have to go somewhere, or I just want to go to another room, I can just take the game with me. I really like having that functionality. And for a game like Baldur's Gate 3, where I can always just come back to it and play for either long sessions or really short bursts, if you're looking for a great game to play on the Steam Deck, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a great shout for that. It has a gold Proton DB rating and is 20% off for $47.99. Now, since I've only had the Steam Deck for a few days, I haven't actually had much time to dump a bunch of hours into it, but that is especially true for Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. And while I hadn't played Dragon Quest XI for a while until this point, even starting a new playthrough over, just to record for this video, my god, the magic of this game just never fades away for me. It's a turn-based JRPG. Those of you who love Dragon Ball will absolutely recognize the character design and art style. And while the soundtrack isn't my cup of tea generally speaking, I do find it comforting and also relaxing. They got a whole orchestra to do the soundtrack for this game, and yeah, it really shows. And I know this next part isn't the most important thing of all time, but like, oh my god, that opening movie looks so gorgeous in the OLED screen, my god. Yeah, I'm not particularly accustomed to gaming on an OLED screen, so this has been a rather fascinating experience for me. And while I didn't manage to actually get that far on the Steam Deck for Dragon Quest XI-S, I have gotten rather far in this game in the past. It's one of the games I always mean to come back to and finish one of these days, but I always find myself just restarting a playthrough to begin this adventure all over again. It's a truly great game, and if you enjoy turn-based combat, I fully recommend Dragon Quest XI. It does a splendid job of blending the wacky antics of the colorful characters alongside just how emotionally gripping this story can be. The characters are brilliantly written, the world is gorgeous to look at, and this holds true for the Steam Deck as well. The only real con I noticed with this game overall was the fact that it was, yeah, like 800p because it's the Steam Deck. But it's still Dragon Quest XI. It has such a strong art style, is such a fun game, and it's just beautiful to look at. Being able to play this game on the go, and yeah, it's not the only version, there is a Switch version for this game as well, but if you already have the game on Steam, or if you are predominantly a PC player, I fully recommend picking up Dragon Quest XI-S. It's one of those games I always find myself coming back to, and every time I do, I just enjoy it. It's simply a great video game. Having a Platinum Proton DB rating, Dragon Quest XI-S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition is 50% off for $19.99. I'll have a full video with my overall thoughts and my first impressions on the Steam Deck coming later this week, but I wanted to make this video before the Steam Summer Sale actually ended, because from now on I would love to be able to make Steam Deck specific videos for these Steam sales in the future. And seeing as how I only had limited time to actually tinker and play around with the Steam Deck, I wanted to pick games that I was extremely familiar with and that I largely knew. At least for the first video I've ever done about the Steam Deck. These are a few of my favorite games, and also the types of games that I would want to play on the Steam Deck. These are games that I think work well when you're on the go, or you're just away from your main desk or your main source of gaming. All of these games run well for what they are, and I also think they play well and look gorgeous. And also, they're just some of my favorite games. I always like to talk about my favorite games. So here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with what recommendations you have for other people for games to play on their Steam Deck that are available at the Steam Summer Sale right now. What games did I miss out on? What games do you think I would enjoy that maybe I should cover in the future? What are your overall thoughts and impressions about the Steam Deck? And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Follow me on TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter. Jmulls G. You can join the Discord in the description down below to hang out with all the jabronis. We would love to have you. Stay safe, have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye everybody. Until we meet again!